What's up, guys? Beyond the Party, episode 7. KP, how you doing? How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm amazing. Hopefully, we're just talking about the air quality.
Yeah.
Hopefully that clears
sorry,
up a little bit. Thank you, Canada. How was your weekend? What'd you do?
My weekend was good. Friday, we had Joe Maz at the pool. We thought it was going to be slow, but then it actually ended up being pretty good Friday. Saturday, we had Damaged Goods, and they always bring like a good crowd and
Right.
a good party. And then Saturday night, we had Blake, and we had a housewife, Danielle.
Oh,
I don't know
awesome.
if you're tuned in, but she was there, and that was a good time too. We had a good Saturday.
Cool.
How was your weekend? What'd you do?
Good. I wound up filling in at Tradesman's on Friday, which is fun. Everywhere's starting to get a little more packed now. Weather's nice, so people come out.
Mm-hmm.
And Saturday, I drove down to like Tom's River area, like near Seaside, and I DJ'd on a boat for a private party, which
Oh,
was
that's cool.
really fun. Yeah, it was the first time I ever did that.
Was it cold?
Yeah, we all had like hoodies on and everything, but still, we had a great time. We
That's cool.
set my speakers up like under the table, so they didn't like fall off and go in the ocean. But I was blasting the music. I said to the captain, I was like, "Is there like a limit?" And he was like, "Nah, we're in the ocean. You can play whatever volume you want." And I was like, "All right, sounds good."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Say less.
Good. On this week's podcast, we have the one and only Tom Shinn.
What an
Welcome.
Thank you
Hey,
for
Tom,
having
how
me.
are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. How
That's
was
good.
your weekend, Tom?
It was good. I think I saw you all
Really? Where?
weekend at the pool.
Oh my God, we are coworkers.
That's so weird. That's so weird.
How would you think our weekend went?
It was good. No, that's
Yeah.
just like you said. Friday was, Fridays have been rough, but it really picked up this Friday, and Saturday, of course, was Blake and Saturday nights, and it was really good. It was
Yeah.
a good weekend.
It was a good
Yeah.
weekend. We had a good crowd this weekend.
We did a very good crowd.
Yeah, especially heading into the summer now too. The pool's gonna start getting packed. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, definitely, and Saturday daytimes too. Like it was a good Saturday
Right.
too.
So, what's your like specific role at the pool?
So I kind of just oversee everything at the front. Front door, bottle service with KP, ticketing. Jess does that. Just pretty much everything at the front.
Yeah.
If
Okay,
you need
gotcha.
something, if there's an issue, need a table, anything, it's just all goes.
I
through
usually
me.
just call for Tom all day
Yeah.
long. Tom to the podium, Tom to the front,
Yep.
and he's always just right on the way.
I'm sure you got to deal with some interesting people sometimes.
We always have it every
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. We get a lot of people from out of town that are here for the weekend and stuff in AC. So we get everybody, and you get some interesting
What's
people.
the most annoying
Yeah.
question you get?
If the pool's open for swimming, it's not.
Right,
It's
yeah.
not.
Closed.
It's not. They stopped that a few years ago. So yes, you can't swim at
I'm
night.
sure for good reason they stopped it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drunk people in water is not a good.
And I feel like a lot of people aren't aware of like the dress code. You guys got to like always tell people, right?
It's not that bad. Yes and no. Like, other places have dress code. We have a strict dress code, but we have it posted everywhere. Can check it at Code Check. So it's not that big of a deal. But
Yeah,
I do get it from people that are staying at other hotels that show up and didn't know about it.
that makes sense.
And then,
right.
we have a little issue, but we always get through it.
So, Tom, you were on the radio.
I
Start us
was.
with that.
Yep.
When did you start on the radio?
Before you guys were born,
Ah,
Okay.
great.
1999.
I was born in 1999.
You were?
Yes.
No.
I was in 2000.
Yes, I was. I was born in 99.
Oh,
so
you were
shut
born
up.
in 99.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
So I was born.
My mom was
April.
my mom was pregnant. Does that count?
You're swimming around
Yeah.
there. I started right out of high school. I wanted to do cameras. I wanted to do this stuff, like behind the scenes camera, and I wanted an internship with Channel 6 just to be closer to Cecily Tynan because she's my favorite. No, that sounds creepy. But Jesus. Channel 6 didn't have any internships, so I needed an internship for college, and I went to at the time it was 97.5 PST, and I got an internship there, and it went from TV to radio. That's really how it was.
So you just stayed doing
Yeah,
that?
I knew how to work all the equipment, and they needed board ops for back then it was Trenton Titans, the hockey team, Trenton Thunder and stuff like that. So I really just grinded and worked my way up, and was that annoying kid that was always around in the office and stuff like that.
I know a few of those.
to just try and work my way up, and it paid off, and I got full time with PST in 2003. So
And how long
awesome.
did you work there?
13 and a half years.
So when did you leave?
2018. So 19 years almost.
And why'd you leave?
Because when you have children, radio doesn't pay. It's, I made an okay salary, and you just really made all your extra money doing the bar events and the club events and stuff like that. But radio's changed drastically. That stuff just starts to dry up, and when you start popping out kids and getting married,
right,
you gotta have money coming from somewhere. And radio for me was not it anymore.
So when was it?
Fun.
When was it on the radio that you went from like helping out with the behind the scenes stuff to like actually being a host?
So we used to have a thing called Club PST on Saturdays, and you needed a board up for it because it was live from Kathmandu and Trenton. It was from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. where you had to run the board for it because it was live club music and all that stuff from the club. The same music that was in the club was on the radio.
Right.
And you needed somebody at the station to run it. And nobody wanted to do it on Saturdays, like, because I was young. I was 19, 20, 21. So it's like, oh, I want to go out and do stuff. But my boss had said, well, if you run the board for this, I know you want to be on the air eventually, so you can be live from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. So that's how it worked out.
The late night shift.
The late night shift, the overnight shift when nobody is listening.
Right.
And so that was my first air shift, was 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Saturday night into Sunday morning.
How was that?
It was awesome. Because you get remember, this was back in 1999, 2000, so people were listening to the radio much more. There was no Spotify. There was none of that. So people were listening more. So you get the drunk people driving home from the clubs.
All the nightlife workers, DJs.
The crazy people that would call the radio station at that time.
What would they say?
Just everything. You name it, they would call. You had regulars. There's a regular Joe Gilmore that has come to the pool. KP, you've met him.
I feel like you definitely did tell me this before.
He's the one that wears the fanny pack.
He's one of your regular callers.
He started listening to PST. He's in his 30s now, and that kid started calling back when he was like 13 or 14
That's
years old.
crazy. Wow.
That's so funny. It's so weird because I don't even listen to the radio anymore.
That's the problem. That's why I got out of it.
I don't listen to the radio at all.
It's completely changed. It's completely changed from when I started to now. I just sound like an old head, being like, "Oh, back in my day," but it was completely different.
Is that still a station?
Yeah, PST's still around.
Sorry.
There's only one person, Chris Rollins, who does mornings. I stay in touch with her. She's been there a long time. She was there before I started. And then there's like Wade, and then I think there's like one or two salespeople. Other than that, it's completely changed over.
But it's not like as fun as it used to be, right?
No. I love radio, but I'll never go back to it because it's not like it used to be. Granted, the stuff that I used to do, I couldn't get away with it.
I was gonna say, dang, you used to do like big.
We'll leave it at that.
We used to do like big events. You guys would do like like carnivals and stuff.
Our Freedom Festival, PST did. Yeah, it was at Mercer County Park. And that I took that over years before I left. The lady who ran it was going out on maternity leave, and they were like, "We need somebody to run Freedom Festival." And I was like, "I'll try it out." So I did it, and we made it successful. We had between 25 to 30,000 people.
Damn.
And we had bands, like no big, just like, cover bands and stuff like that. Fireworks, carnival rides, vendors, food. It was great.
Yeah.
It was a good time, but nobody does it anymore. Maybe we could get our boss to put on Freedom Festival.
Okay, yeah, should we?
Yes, we should.
You could be the MC.
No,
I'll get the party going then.
Yeah, you guys can do that.
So when you were hosting the radio show and like playing music, like in between, how's that work? Did you have like a computer in front of you?
I did nothing.
You're a DJ. Didn't even control that? Okay.
No. Radio it's such a, it's. I hate to say, like, anybody could be on the radio if you can talk and do that, but it's not like what you do. You guys are actual DJs. All of this music was computerized. It's programmed. You had no say in it. Even requests and stuff these days. I mean, when they'd be like, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah, requested a song," I'd be like, "Yeah, KP called."
Yeah, right.
It wasn't that stuff. It's so corporate.
Predetermined.
It's so corporate that you just schedule the music your boss does, and that's that. Like, there's no say with it.
So it was just you on there, or who'd you do it with?
I started Tommy Jordan was doing nights, and then I became his co-host, and so we did that for a few years. He moved to mornings. I got a co-host, Tim, for a few years. Then I had another
Tim and
co-host. It was Shinn and Tim.
Shinn and Tim.
I only went by Shinn on the radio, my last name. And then, so we had interns and stuff like that. So when I did the night show, it was from 7 p.m. to midnight. So we had, interns, and we did fun stuff. Like, we did games and all that stuff, but picking the music and actually DJing, I never did it.
No.
All we had to do was turn on the mic and turn it off. Everything else was all the
and
computer.
you can even tell, like, when you listen to the radio, it's the same rotation of songs every hour. Because
there's
crazy. Yeah.
There's A's, B's, C's, D's, and they call them golds. Like an A is a song that you hear twice an hour. Like you hear it when it's a whole
system
system that they have. It's crazy.
How did you feel about it being live all the time? Like, were you ever scared to like say something?
I think I curse so much, and I'm trying not to now. I think I curse too much now because I couldn't then. Like, when that mic's on, I never ran a delay at night. So if you dropped a bomb, like you're getting in trouble. I never did because I never dropped a bomb. There was 2 instances that I know. I was running the board for the morning show once, and they were on location somewhere, and the traffic girl called in to do her traffic report. But she also did news, like a minute news segment. And in the middle of it, she messed up. And she said, shit, edit that out. I was like, all right, no problem. But I'm doing 10 other things at the same time, and I completely forgot to edit it.
Damn.
So I edited the beginning and the end, and then when I play it, and it was just almost like in slow motion, where you heard her fumble over a word, and then I just heard her go, shit, edit that out. And I'm like, no! Because it was live, and there was no delay. And I had an intern, Hank. He dropped the F-bomb once on the air.
So did you get in trouble for that, for not editing it?
So again, it's a whole process, and it's not edited because it was live. It was live.
Yeah.
He dropped it live. It's a whole process that you have to complain to the FCC, and then they have to do an investigation to see and stuff. But it was late at night, so somebody probably heard it, but they didn't report it. We only got in trouble one major time. We used to play a game called None of Your Business. So if I would ask KP and you'd like personal questions, this was all, we would record it. We would rarely take callers live because we didn't run a delay, but I would ask you like, how old are you? And you'd answer it. And so you get a prize for answering that. It was 10 questions. And the more questions we asked, the more personal they would get. People gave out cell phone numbers. People gave out their addresses. People gave out their social security numbers, stupid stuff.
What were the prizes?
Concert tickets, stuff like that. We had all different kinds of stuff. The one thing that today we would have gotten in even more trouble, but we asked who the ugliest kid in school was, and the girl said it. And
his name.
She said first and last name. And so then the next question was, what school do you go to?
Oh, my gosh.
And she said it because she wanted whatever. It was probably like Six Flags passes or something. And she said first and last name of the ugliest kid in school and the school they went to. Ugly kid's aunt heard. And ugly kid's aunt called. And then we played Ugly Kid's Aunt on the radio, too. So we did get a cease and desist from a lawyer
I'm sure.
for that. So that was the only time I think my boss ever really got mad at me and Tommy, because that was back in the day.
But that's just the game.
It was just, she didn't have to answer it.
Right.
Yeah.
She could have said it's none of
It's
your
on
business.
her,
That
right.
was the point of the game.
That's it. Yeah. What was it like with the drunk callers? Would they ever curse and you had to like cut them off real quick? Or?
No, because we did. We're getting into secrets now. Like anytime you called, we always would record it and then play it back.
Oh, really?
So that way you don't run the risk of drunk people doing it.
Yeah,
At the club, though, it was because we would do, once I became on air, we would do Club PST from Cat, and we would be 100% live with a delay because somebody would get banged up too bad that they had to put a delay on because, I mean, that's why I don't drink with you that much anymore, KP, because I used to do that as well, and we would have drunk girls on at the club.
Oh,
Just
God.
think,
I can only
you're in the
imagine.
club
Right.
having a blast, partying, and we put you live on the radio. Yeah,
Right.
some stuff was said, so we had to put a delay on.
When you say delay, how much of a
14
delay?
seconds.
So you get? Is there a producer just like sitting there?
Yeah.
Like,
So
waiting?
back at the radio station,
Wow.
she had to sit there. There's a big red button in the middle of the board called dump. So if you hear a curse, you have to hit that dump button. Sorry, I just probably maxed out your mics.
Done.
You hit the dump button, and then
Yeah.
you have to switch over to the programming feed to make sure that it dumped out. It knocks off, I forget the increments. I think it's like 4 seconds.
Mhm.
So if you hit it like within 4 seconds of hearing that curse, it'll dump it out of the radio. So that way nobody at her home heard it.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny that it was so serious about cursing.
Well, because it's
I mean,
it's radio. You
yeah.
still can't these days. Like
Uh-huh.
you still listen to any station now, you can't hear cursing because of the FCC.
So like when you guys were having the DJ's music from the club come
Mhm.
in, would they just not be allowed to play
Yep.
curses that night?
all right, all
Okay.
edited music
Because it
'cause-
was known that the
Yep.
yeah the club
Yeah.
would be recording.
Oh yeah, it
whatever.
was a whole crazy process of ISDN lines, which was I don't even think they exist anymore. But it's like hooking into the internet now.
Mhm.
That's how they would do it from the clubs back in the day of music, which was cool though because you're in your car on your way to the club and you get there and it's the same stuff that you're listening
Yeah.
to. Like, but that was when people listened to the radio.
Yeah, right.
They really did.
This is
So,
also true. What would you say is like what would the craziest thing be that happened to you?
on the radio,
Yeah.
we had this is one of me and Tommy's favorite stories. We had, and I don't even know if I can get in trouble for it again, like
Again.
or not again, but like it's been at least 20 years. Maybe not that long, but we had yellow card tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And we were doing like, what would you do for yellow card tickets? Because this is back when yellow card was huge. And these two girls called and said they would show up to the station naked for yellow card tickets. And we're like, okay. So we're like, make sure that you were obviously they had to be over 18 years old, 20, whatever it was. And they were long out of college and they worked in a club that you don't keep your clothes on.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they were fine with it, and they showed up in the parking lot, and we were on the air, and they were in the parking lot, and we were like, "Yeah, if that's really you, flash the headlights of the car," and the headlights flashed. So we're like, "All right, it's really them. Like,
Oh my
we're
God.
not gonna get murdered by somebody." And we go downstairs, and they were butt naked in their car, so they won yellow card tickets.
But it's not so it's not like live, like it's not
No.
live video. So you
No, we
guys don't
didn't.
know,
Right, there was no video.
yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
My other favorite was getting Tommy and I like to play jokes on each other all the time, and it was April Fools. It might have been April Fools, but I had Tommy's brand new car repoed in the parking lot, live on the air. We timed it out perfectly because we started the show at 7:00, and we were on the air right at 7. I told the repo man to wait around the corner and listen to when we were live, and then to come in the parking lot with his lights on. And we're in the middle of talking like this, and Tommy goes, "What's that in the parking lot?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just some bright yellow lights." And he's like, "What is it?" I'm like, "It's like a tow truck. I don't know." And so he tries to get back on subject. And he's like, "What's that tow truck doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, but your car's up in the air." He took his headphones off and sprinted out. Like, we're still on the air. And he sprinted out of the studio,
Yeah.
down the 3 flights of stairs to the parking lot. I had to put on a song so I could go down there, but I videotaped. And I warned the repo man because Tommy is like the nicest asshole you'd ever meet. And Tommy will admit that. But to like, if Tommy doesn't like you or doesn't know you, he could be very like standoffish. So I warned the repo man. I was like, he's probably going to try to deck you. He's probably like, it's not going to be good. I'm warning you that if he hits you, don't sue me because this is just a joke.
Yeah.
Tommy was like, "What are you doing to my car?" He's like, "I just bought it." And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, this is not how you are. Get in his face, get mad. And Tommy was like, "I just made my first payment." The guy's like, "Well, it didn't go through." And like, he had his car up in the air on the repo truck.
Did he take it?
No,
They
because
dropped it?
I started laughing.
Is this recording like anywhere? Do you have it?
It's probably not because
No.
this is like 2004, 2005.
Yeah,
Where-
yeah.
I know I sound old as shit because this stuff wasn't around.
Took
like
the Nokia.
it was like we had when and you guys will laugh. Like Google came out with this thing called a flip cam, And it was just like, it was this little Google camera that had a USB. You flipped the button and this USB came out. I mean, it was probably like a 0.5 megapixel, awful quality, but that's
what you use.
Yeah, because I'm old.
Well,
So, like, I don't think that video is anywhere. Like, we didn't get into when YouTube first came out. Is when we were, I have some funny stuff up there somewhere. I don't even know where it lives now, but we have some funny videos up there.
Besides, like, the actual live radio, was there anything else that you guys would, like, post your content to, like, online or anything like that? So it was just, like, you got to tune in live and, like, listen.
Yeah, like, the whole digital and, like, web stuff really didn't affect radio until maybe, like, 2010, 2011.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
They would have us, when blogs first came out, our boss was like, "Oh, do a blog," and everybody would do it. And I hated typing. Like I hated that in school. I hated doing papers. So I said to my boss, I'm like, and this was like when that Google Flip Cam came out. I'm like, "Can I just do a video blog?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." So I did video blogs and stuff like that. But
Tom invented the vlog.
No, definitely didn't. But like with that Google Cam, we were on extra once because when YouTube first came out, like we would upload funny videos of pranking the interns and stuff like that. And they had one where we just dressed up another intern in a monkey suit and scared the absolute shit out of one of the interns. And it made it on extra because they pulled it off of YouTube. Like, and that was years ago. That was 13, 14 years ago. Right. So, yeah, so I'm older than dirt.
Yeah.
And that was just all new to us.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We didn't know. And I think that was the demise of radio as well, is like all this digital stuff took over and they didn't keep up with it. So, and now they are, like, stations are doing stuff like this all the time. And they're doing well with it. But,
yeah, but it's not as fun as it used to be.
No, it's not. For me, it wasn't. That's why I also, the money was one thing, but then just fun. It just wasn't fun anymore.
When you did leave the radio, how did you end up at the Pool After Dark?
So it was a wild couple years after leaving PST. I ran a bar for a couple years. So that's how I basically got my feet wet. In this industry with radio and hospitality and restaurants and bars, it's really because I was at so many bars and restaurants all the time with the radio station.
Just hand in hand.
It's hand in hand. It's budgeting, it's staffing, it's all that stuff, which is the same as what I did at the bar. Yeah. So, I ran the Irish bar up in Mercer County.
And you loved it there.
I loved it. I got my feet wet with it. And then I moved on from there, and I was tinting windows for a little while.
Yes, he was.
It was because I was just kind of like
figuring it out.
I was figuring it out because I was so used to 19 years of the same exact thing.
Right.
And then I was like, let me try this. And then I was tinting windows, and a buddy of mine, Mike, called, and he's like, we moved down here into Mays Landing, and I was working up in Ewing, New Jersey, so it's an hour and a half.
Oh wow! Is that like towards New York?
It's by Trenton.
Trenton, okay, got it.
Right by Trenton, and it was an hour and a half ride each way every day for 5 days a week,
it's just exhausting.
And it's just exhausting. And Mike was like, how are you loving it? I'm like, I love it. I'm doing it. I'm like, the drive stinks. And he's like, well, let me talk I got a buddy of mine that, does a lot of events, with casinos and stuff. He's like, it's much closer to you. He's like, this is back when COVID was kind of ending and casinos were reopening. He's like, let me see if he has anything. So that's how I got connected to Frank. And then it's been history from there.
Yeah, true that. Me and Tom started the same day.
Same day.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, same day with Frank. Frank knew you were working. Frank forgot that I was working.
Frank did forget you were working.
He's like, thank God you're here.
It was a mess. It was a mess. Tom came through, and it was like beaming lights around Tom when he walked up.
Stop. It was we didn't know what we were getting into when that was the first trial run of the pool reopening after COVID, and that was it.
Yeah.
Me and
it
KP.
was just kind of like figuring a lot of things out for the first couple of weeks.
I bet that's how it was everywhere after COVID.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we didn't know, like, we've never worked in like a job like that. Well,
we were thrown in.
Yeah.
We were thrown into it because nobody knew what how many positions were needed. All of a sudden, it was like somebody needs to do this, and we just flew by the hip that night and pulled it all together, and that's it.
And it kind of just went, and then thankfully we've had a job ever since. So
it seems to be working out.
Yeah, it's working out very well.
Let's rewind a little bit. So, like, did you always see yourself, working for the radio or working in nightlife when you were in middle school, high school? Like, what did you see yourself doing? What did you?
I really wanted to do camera. I loved the behind the scenes. But once I got out of the TV stuff in high school and it turned to radio, then I loved radio. I absolutely love it. Like, I'm still the only oddball that listens to the radio. I still do.
I listen to sports radio.
I do. I do. I got to do so many fun things in radio that most people won't, like I got to go, I worked for XTU for a few years as a producer for them. So I got to go out and cover the CMAs. Like, I would fly out a couple days earlier to set up all the equipment for the
Yeah, I was going to say, did you meet anybody, like, cool?
Oh,
who was your favorite person?
Miley Cyrus. I interviewed Miley. You can see awesome. That on YouTube.
I'll put a little clip in. Yeah.
Post Malone. I met Post Malone before Post Malone had any tattoos.
Malone.
Yes.
Wow.
I'll show you the picture.
Yes, yeah. Bring it up.
Picture. I'll show you guys of me and Post Malone before he had those face tattoos and stuff.
Was he cool?
I don't know if I ever seen a picture of him.
Does he smell?
Does he smell you?
Is he gonna watch this?
I hope so.
I hope so. Hopefully.
Well, Post, if you smell, if you watch this, then I mean this in the nicest way possible. Yes.
Wow. That's what I'm saying. He looks like he would smell.
He was, yes, the most nicest guy.
Yeah.
Would sit and talk to you for about anything, for whatever, for as many hours. But he was a little stinky. There he is, Post Malone with me.
See, like,
look at that.
I'm not wrong for thinking that.
This is Post Malone at the Fillmore before. If you
he was just doing like a smaller concert. Yeah,
2,000 people at the Fillmore, if that. Right. Adele, this is a great story about Adele.
I love her.
I was doing the night show. Adele was coming to do, because we had a live lounge at PST where artists would come in and perform, and I was doing the night show, and Adele was coming at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and my boss sends out an email, Adele's coming in, a new artist, blah blah blah. I'm like, who's this? I'm not going in for this. Like, and now look at Adele.
Now look at her.
So I didn't meet her.
Missed your shot. Yeah.
Miley Cyrus, I interviewed her at the Link or Wells Fargo Center before her concert, so that was really
That's awesome. Yeah,
it was before her first crazy breakdown. Like, she was still almost like Disney-esque,
right.
But so that was a while ago. Yep. Yeah. One Direction was a massive one.
Yeah.
They were insane. Yeah, I interviewed them when they came to Camden.
They're not like a thing together anymore, are they?
No, they all do their own stuff.
But that was at their prime. Like, I had security walking into interview because it was chaos.
People loved that.
It was chaos.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It was nuts. Just everything. I've country, like Toby Keith, Tim McGraw.
I've met Keith.
That's the stuff that I miss.
Yeah,
because it was fun. Like, there were some really fun things.
Were you ever nervous to interview these
all
people?
Of them? Yeah, it got better throughout the years. But like Miley Cyrus, I had to give them all my questions before,
so they could
rehearse and
and because that was, I think I got her right as kind of she was, the controversy with her, whatever was starting. So I couldn't ask certain things, so they had to preview. But others like that, like Post Malone, you didn't have to submit any questions to them. Just what do you got? And when they came to the studios too, to PST, we never had to, for the most part, really had to let them know what we were going to ask. And for the most part, they were all good with.
Did any of them know who you were? This is Tom Shinn from.
So, Chainsmokers had that song "Roses."
Yeah,
with the girl Roses. She listened to PST. She reached out to me on Snapchat.
Oh wow!
And was like, "Shinn, I can't believe you guys are playing my song. I listened to you growing up," and I'm like. You have a song, the biggest song in the country at the time with the Chainsmokers, and she reached out to me, and awesome. That was but that's pretty much it. I mean,
that's cool though.
It's other radio people and stuff like that. It's such a small. It was small, but now it's even smaller. So we were all just cool with each other. Like other stations, when we'd see each other out, there was a little bit of rivalry,
some beef,
but But at the same time, we were all in it together. So, it was fun.
Yeah.
What was it like interviewing? What's One Direction? 4 or 5 people?
4.
Yeah. So what was it like going
4
into
people.
interviewing 4 people? Was it like a lot? You have to prepare compared to
I never
interviewing one
prepared.
person?
I was the worst.
You just went
I
into
wasn't
it?
the worst. I like what we're doing now. I just like firing off. I hated like you get the same questions. Like every radio person would ask the same, what's your favorite thing about on tour? What's your favorite city? Like I hated that. Like I just wanted to find out to just talk.
Yeah.
So, you had a couple that you would jot down ahead of time, but I was the worst with preparing to try and do that stuff.
That's why podcasts are cool because you don't have to structure it so much. You kind of just open conversation.
Yeah,
and
there were artists that you had to, to do that for, but for the most part, I like just winging it.
So was there ever any bad blood when you left there?
Not really, because I left on good terms. Like I really just went to my boss and was like, I've had it. Like, I could only go as high as I was the marketing and promotions director when I left, and I did afternoons. So, I did marketing and promotions. My day started at 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and then I did all that stuff until 3 p.m., and I was on the air from 3 to 7, 5 days a week, plus weekends. And then you could only go as high as the program director on the programming side. Like I never wanted to get into sales because they had to wear a suit every day. And now look at me. I have to wear a suit every Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, you do.
Thanks, Frank. So, I never wanted to be on the sales side. But like program director, my boss was there. He was my boss for the entire time. And he was program director for a few years before I started. He was a program director a few years after I left. So I wasn't taking his job, and that's the job I wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I did get to be a program director for 1 year in 2012. PST moved me to Frederick, Maryland to run their pop station that they had down there, Q103. Wow. So everybody in New Jersey had no idea, this is the magic of radio, that I lived in Maryland, did the morning show, but I still did the night show on PST.
Wow.
I would come up here to do events to make it seem like I never left.
Yeah.
So, with social media.
That's why you moved to Maryland.
That's why I moved to Maryland. Yeah, I always got to be the program director of Q103, and it was a blast. Again, got my feet wet to see that side of it. And then the company went bankrupt. The radio station Nassau Broadcasting went bankrupt, and I'm like,
thanks.
Hey, move me down near to Maryland. And so I left after the new owner bought the station in December of 2012.
Ever get offered to, leave your station to go to another one and you declined?
One time when Sirius satellite radio first started, Kid Kelly, who was a massive name in radio, he was driving through Jersey and he worked for Sirius, and he reached out to Tommy Jordan and I and emailed us and said, hey guys, love the show. Come to New York. I want to chat about going to Sirius. Me and Tommy had just signed a contract with PST. We're young. Well, Tommy's way older than me. He's going to get mad at that. But, I'm in my early 20s. He's, in his early 30s. We just signed a deal, a 2.5-year deal with PST, where we got a nice substantial raise at the time. Right. And we didn't want to mess it up, and we never went.
Oh, you didn't even take the meeting? Wow.
Nope. We
Do you
emailed
regret
him.
it?
I absolutely regret it, because Kid Kelly went on to run Sirius Hits 1 for years and years and years. I don't know if he's there anymore, but yeah, that's one thing that it's like, damn, we should have at least just gone to the meeting
And
to
hear
him out.
But for us in radio, when the competition of this new satellite radio is coming out, we're like, why would we go to that? And it's like, damn, we probably should have.
Yeah.
Because even if it was a cool run for a couple years and made some money, but who knows? But that was the only one that was that I regretted. I applied to, a few other stations that the money, like, it's crazy. Unless you're massive, a Preston and Steve, a Howard, stuff like that, like the money's just not there for smaller stations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why
Did you ever email him back and say, I'm
yeah,
not coming?
we did a few times, and then we let him know that, hey, we just signed a deal, and he's like, just come up for lunch.
Yeah, right.
And we never did. So it's not that we ghosted him. And then a few years later, we reached out and then never heard back from him.
Oh.
So,
He's like, now you want to.
yeah, he's like, now you want to.
He's like, who is this?
So it or maybe and I think that I don't remember. I don't think I heard from him.
Right.
It never happened. I
I
never
don't think
got
I
to
remember.
go. I never got to go up there.
Did you ever
But-
think about like tapping back into maybe
Nope.
not even radio, but maybe starting your own podcast or
Nope.
doing anything
I
like
did
that?
one with Tommy and Dallas, who we worked with in Q103 in Maryland. It's that this is time consuming.
Yeah, it is.
And
yeah.
I have 3 children
Right,
now.
right.
All the stuff with the pool, it's 7 days a week. Like our job, KP knows it. It's 7 days a week.
People
work
don't see that either about nightlife.
No,
Like,
they don't.
yeah.
It's that phone rings. KP knows our work phones ring
Mhm.
at all hours of the day.
Mhm.
Like I just get the kids into bed. I'm like, I got some time on the couch, and there's my phone ringing,
Mhm.
asking about bottle service, and I don't mind it at all. Not one bit, but it's 24/7.
Yeah.
It is. It really is 7 days a week.
And you don't
Check-in.
really realize that because everybody just thinks you're only there Friday and
Friday,
Saturday.
Right,
Right.
right.
It's a
We're
lot
physically
somehow.
there Friday and Saturday, but Sunday through Thursday, we are on the phone and the computer
I
and
bet.
meetings and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah, there's so much preparation that just goes into everything from running a club to running an event and, just preparing even the DJs. Like,
I was just about
people
to
say, oh, you're a DJ, you have the best job in the world. And like,
They think it's the
you just work
easiest
on
job. And
weekends and,
what
like-
you guys do is absolutely like when I was on the radio and people were like, "Oh, you're a DJ." No, listen, I just talk. Like if you only knew that we just talk. Did I try to dabble in DJing? Sure. I would do the 8th grade dances and stuff like that where you just hit play and no mixing.
Right, yeah.
What they have is an absolute skill. Any
Uh-huh.
DJ, if people are like, "Oh, they just press," it's an art. Like what you
Yeah,
guys
it
do
is,
is an
it is.
absolute art. It's humbling what you guys
Yeah.
can do.
I appreciate that.
I'm being dead serious. Like watching what you guys do, you guys have so much stuff that you have to keep track of. The crowd, the vibe, the mixing, it's insane
Yeah,
and people don't realize that either of DJs.
Yeah, you're right. And same thing like with you guys, everything behind the scenes. And for people that don't know, like, can you go into a little more like what you're doing, like Sunday through Thursday, like when you're not even at the club?
It's all monitoring everything. Table sales, ticket sales,
Sorry.
all the questions, bachelor parties, birthday parties, anything that people want, we want them to come to the club and have no worry about their party.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
they want to have everything set and we want to have everything set before they even get there. So when they get there, they check in with KP. They have not a worry in the world except for partying and having a good time.
Yeah.
So just getting, little details about if it's a birthday, if it's a bachelorette party, if they had some people cancel,
Right.
we're monitoring that all, with some of the announcements that we have, like Shaq's coming up in August, monitoring
Mhm.
table sales
That's
because
gonna be
then
awesome.
as we get closer, book your tables fast because
Oh,
prices
yeah,
do
that's
go
gonna-
up.
They
So,
do.
if you want a table now, call KP.
Call Tom, please.
Just DM the Instagram.
So exactly, but it's 7 days a week because we get the leads, we get the emails. It's dealing with corporate Las Vegas, with the pool, with Caesars Entertainment to make sure that what we're doing is aligning with what they want.
Yeah.
And it's Zoom calls, and it's apologies because my 3-year-old is running around like a maniac while I'm trying to have a serious conversation with corporate Caesars, and you hear my son in the background screaming his face off. But I'm very lucky. Like I'm very lucky to have the position with Frank that I do because I get to see the kids more often and stuff like that. But Daddy's always working. Like they know, like Chase, if my work phone is sitting there and it rings, he brings it over to me.
Mhm.
Daddy's lazy sometimes and he'll just bring it over, but it's 24/7. So, but I
Yeah.
love it. It's something that I never saw myself doing, and I absolutely love this. Like
That's
we're
awesome.
having a
Yeah.
blast.
Yeah, you should memorize Tom's phone number because if you get arrested, you call Tom because
Yeah.
he's going to answer.
I'm gonna answer. I'm that guy that if they were like, if you have to call somebody right now that'll answer for $1 million, call me
Call
because I
Tom.
guarantee I answer it.
He will
And if they
answer.
say they don't answer, we know who that is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying his name because I don't want him to fire me.
She's gonna hate that I say this. My mom would be the worst person to call in that situation.
Really? Your
Really?
mom's not going to answer?
She just her phone's always dead or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. Which
does your mom not care about
no,
you?
she loves me. She loves me. She's gonna get mad now. Might have to cut it. No. Yeah. She just sucks at answering the phone.
Really?
And my dad's actually like really good. He's always like,
See,
on his
my
phone,
parents are
dabbling.
opposite.
Yeah.
My dad doesn't answer the phone. My mom's like, as soon as it rings, she's like running for it.
Yeah, it's funny too because my mom is like a nervine. So like, I'll call her and maybe call her a few times, and she'll call me back. She's like, "Oh my god, like what's the matter? I'm so sorry, my phone was dead." Or
wow.
this.
So yeah, if
like,
it's your last breath, don't call your mom.
No, call Tom.
I'll
call Tom.
Right, and then I'll tell your mom what you said.
That's funny. So were you a manager at the bar that you
Yeah.
were at when you left the radio?
I was GM of Killarney's Public House. It was up in Mercer County. It was an Irish bar. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that when I was looking to leave radio, that I just really went to the owners because I was buddies with them before because they advertised on PST. So I knew Jack and Seamus. And I was like, listen, I'll be a doorman. I'll be a barback. I don't care. Like, I've just really had it with radio. And Jack was like, no, we need a GM. And I'm like, hold on a second. I've done radio stuff. I've
Right.
never run a bar. And so me and him had many conversations, and it was just all budgeting and staffing and customer service, all the stuff that I did at the radio station. And he's like, I have full faith you can do this, and let's do it. So I did, and it was fun. It was a blast. Like, there was a lot of learning that I really had to learn in the kitchen, but I really didn't have to get into the kitchen that much because we had a kitchen manager and stuff like that. So as the GM, it was just all paying the bills, staff, hiring,
inventory,
make sure the bartenders are doing